So we've made it to the end of the season with a cup final and not the result we would have wanted. How do you reflect on the game against Barnstaple?
Yeah, I think you're always disappointed to lose any cup final. We have to take stock. They won the league in the end, picked up their county cup, so it was always going to be a tough day at the office. We had lost both league games without scoring, so we tried to do something a little bit different. It kind of worked until it didn't, sort of thing. Sadly, we knew we'd have to revert back into our traditional sort of shape at some point, and I think the minute we conceded the second, it was it's a long way back from there. I mean, Leo had a chance just after, I think, at 2-0, he's put high over the bar. Maybe that changes the game, maybe it doesn't. But listen, we went down, we had a go. It was a great day for the fans and the club and the whole to make the cup final. Obviously, as a manager, you come away with that feeling that I probably let them down a bit, not delivering what they maybe wanted to bring home. But we have to take stock of the season as a whole, and to get there was an achievement in itself, before lifting the trophy.
And of course, there were a number of players from the reserve side that featured throughout the campaign. How do you sum up that contribution?
Yeah, it brought the club as a whole closer. I think in recent years we haven't had much to do with the reserves. The golfing players is probably the biggest issue. You bring them into sessions and they're not quite up to speed, or you put them into games where they're not used to the pace and the intensity. It is different, but we tried to get them in early doors this year using the Les Phillips, and like you said, they all played their part. Management team, the players, none more so than obviously Carr, who played in every round, and we made sure, it was probably a bit sort of crap for him to get a couple of minutes in the final, but we wanted to make sure he was on there and played his part. But yeah, so like I said, they've been great. They've won promotion next year to Step 7, so that brings the gap even closer, and we hope that the players will kind of continue the link. We've had first teamers drop down, which we haven't really had before. Resi's come up and play. Management have turned up and watched the first team, and vice versa. So good feeling at the minute amongst the squads, and like you said, hopefully that will continue into next year.
And that feeling around the club, which is a very positive one. With the squad next season, are we looking healthy?
Yeah, it's going to be a quieter summer than last year. I'll probably even manage to get a holiday in. We've had player meetings, it's all been positive, so we know we're starting in a really healthy position. Obviously that's regardless of what league we're in. I think we find out initially this week before appeals and everything take place. So yeah, worst case scenario, we're good to go. We need to add a few more. We know where we've been weak this season. I think Saturday probably highlighted that a little bit more. So we know the area that we have to go and strengthen. Across the back, we look decent in games. Midfielders have all played the level and are good. We need to make sure that they're fit and hit the ground running next year. And then the front line is probably been a problem area this season. It hasn't quite worked or got us over the line in games where we needed it to. So yeah, player wise, we're good. We're in a good space. The fans can relax a bit more this summer. They can enjoy it a bit more, knowing it's not going to be massive upheaval over the next couple of weeks.
And with a couple of players who fans may have been surprised not to see towards the end of the season, Fabian Stanislas and Jaden Pearce, are there any timelines on their return?
I think both will be back pre-season. Fabes is one we have to look after a little bit more and maybe push him into an extra bit of recovery. JP was my fault, and like I said, I give him permission to go and play for a local Step 7 club, thinking he'd be all right, and he wasn't. So it's hindsight, and that's not on the club. It's not on himself. That was a decision that, again, 9 times out of 10 I probably still make. You can't stop lads playing football, but yeah, in hindsight, we had a cup final, and I should have been a bit firmer there. Yeah, and Fabes he's been missing a while now. I think he tried to come back a bit soon in order to be fit for the final. Didn't work. So we sort of left it completely in the end, and now we have to make sure he gets the right right treatment to go in sort of 6 weeks' time. Both are probably lads that if they get injured, you're confident they'll be fine, because core fitness for them too is never an issue. So hopefully it's just a case of getting the injury sorted, and then it's not going to take them long to be back at the speed.
Before we discuss the off-season, obviously fans travelled in numbers last Saturday. What was that like to see?
Yeah, we've said it all year, and we've been here for 3 years now. We've said the fan base is known throughout the league and the county sort of for being one of the better travelling fan bases. We go to a lot of clubs that are strong at home, but don't bring too many here, whereas we tend to travel majority of the games, unless there's something on for any other reason, in really good numbers. So they all travel really well. Like I said, they sang, they clapped us off at the end. I think they know the lads give everything they could over 50 games this year or whatever we've played, and maybe it is one too far with a stretched thin squad. So they're all honest. They understand the football club, and that's the great thing we have here, is we know a lot of them personally. They understand the football club. They understand football. So they'll tell me if they think I've got it wrong, that they appreciate when we've give everything and maybe come up short. So yeah, you can't ask for a better fan base than what we've got.
Perfect. And as we head into a period without football, which feels very rare at this point, have you got any plans for the off-season?
Not too many. We've been doing a bit the last couple of days to tidy up the pre-season schedule and reach out to a few lads that we maybe want to look at bringing in the summer. Next week will be a quieter week, where once those messages are out and people know we're kind of looking, then we can sort of switch off for a few days. But hey, football never really stops. As it is FA Cup and Premier League, then we're into a longer World Cup than normal. So there's going to be loads going on. I've got to try and sort of keep the missus happy and win that battle at home, so that when we're back at it, we're going to be in 2-3 times a week for a couple of weeks. We've put plans in place to make sure they're ready when they come back. So yeah, it never really ends, mate, but it's not going to be as time consuming or as depressing as last year. So I can't complain.
Perfect. Good to hear. Well, have a good rest.
See you soon.